Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa for yet another video on the Nordschleife challenge. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video, and today we are going to be taking a look at this and throwing this particular car around the track. This is the Lotus Exige Scura, which I believe is Italian for dark or night. I think it's dark. And as you can see, there is a particular reason for this. This is supposed to be Lotus, a special edition Lotus. I think only 35 of these were made, and they are supposed to be stealth cars. So you can see it has like a matte paint. It has these dark lines everywhere, a lot of black, a lot of grey, both inside and out. In fact, the only thing I can see here that is of colour, aside from the red lights, is the logo. Everything else just seems to be grey or black, and that is kind of interesting. I'm assuming inside the dials might have a few extra colours as well. So I'm going to be throwing this around the track. I have never driven this in Assetto Corsa. In fact, I did not even know about this car. I did not know this car was in Assetto Corsa. I somehow have just missed it all these years. So what does this car have, and what are we looking at in terms of lap time? So let's go through the specifications for the car. It does have a front engine. Is it front engined? No, sorry, mid-engine. There we go. Mid-engined rear-wheel drive car. It does have, I think it has the one of the Toyota engines. Is it the two ZZs? Straight 4. So inline 4, mid-engined, rear-wheel drive, and it produces a, let's see, how much does it produce? 257 brake horsepower, up at 8,000 RPM, so we are going to be revving this car today. 243 newton meters of torque, or about 180 foot-pounds of torque, at 7,000 RPM. So this is a car that really needs to be pushed to the upper limits for you to get the maximum out of this. I've seen the torque curves and the power curves for this car. Quite interesting. It pulls all the way to near the red line, so I do like that. As I said, it is a rear-wheel drive car. What I find interesting about this car is that it only weighs 925 kilograms. That is just over 2,000 pounds for those who for those people who want to know that in American, which is kind of crazy that it's such a light car and it has 257 brake horsepower. So I'm just trying to figure out what the, so you're looking at about 280, so would it be 280 horsepower per ton, which is not bad. Now what is even more interesting about that, if someone might have heard, I said it has a Toyota 2ZZ engine, well, that engine is only a 1.8 litre engine. Now obviously it has Toyota's, what is it, VVTi? Is that what it is? VVTL? Whatever it is. The variable valve lift timings, timing and lift, whatever it is. It has that, but still, a 1.8 litre engine producing that is like, that's like the rotary engines from the Mazda, where you look at that and you say, oh well, it's a 1.3 litre engine and it's producing this much power. This is similar to it. So whatever they've done, however they've tuned this, pretty well done. What else about this car? Top speed of the car, I believe, this is where it gets a little bit tricky to find out, because sometimes there's a few things that are different. 152 miles per hour, so 245 kilometers per hour. 0 to 60 about 4 seconds, though it is a manual 6-speed gearbox, so if I mess up the gearing, obviously we're not going to launch, but there's no launching in this particular challenge. Tyres, 195 50 R16s on the front, 225 45 R17s on the rear, so not massive tyres for the amount of power that is on this car. But this is going to be an interesting drive. Of course, it's lightweight, so I'm really looking forward to the agility. That is something Lotus does really, really well. I think I have covered all the specifications for this car. So, as usual, I'm going to do a couple of practice laps on Patreon. So if you want to see those, link in the description box before you watch the actual video. There might be crashes, there might be spins, all of those kind of things. If not a problem. Coming up next after the intro will be a couple of proper laps, and let's see where this goes on the lap time. In fact, before I do the intro, let's bring up the lap time chart very quickly. So you can see that this is currently the top 10. If anything, I'm going to, without driving this car, without ever having driven this car, I'm thinking that the car is going to slot in around the Mazda RX-7, Porsche 718 Cayman, BMW 1M. That is where I'm expecting it. If things go bad, then it is probably going to be no lower than 11th place, given that in 15th place is the Lotus Elise SC. So I'm expecting it to be a lot faster than that. So the lowest I think this will go is 11th, but realistically I think it will break into the top 10. So there you go. Right, without further ado, let's get started. So here we go for the first lap. I've had to restart it due to the braking just being a bit out of whack. I think the ABS braking is just, the car has to be take on too much on the brakes. I really do not like how much braking force you have on the brake pedal without ABS. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to be driving this. I've done obviously the Patreon laps, and I've messed up this lap already, so we're probably looking at this lap and another lap to see what I can do with this car. Things that I didn't mention about this car is that it has a supercharger, as you can probably hear. That explains how they've managed to get the amount of power that they've got out of this car with the 1.8 litre engine. Other things I've noticed about this car is there is an understeer to this car that really I do not like. It's quite apparent, and you are going to see it, I think, quite a bit over this lap. And I am trying my best to adapt to that understeer and play to the car's strengths, but I think that the tyres just are a little bit too narrow for it. Really, I think that's just the honest problem. Aside from that, I really do like this car. I think it's a really nice car to drive. If I could only figure out how not to lock up the brakes, even at 80% brake pressure. It's just quite silly. This is just an ABS thing. Again, parts of the challenge, no ABS, no traction control, so I've got to somehow deal with it. But it's one of those things again that I've mentioned about if you are struggling to drive a car without ABS, then something's probably not great with the car. And in this case, obviously it's brakes on these. Second gear doesn't like here. No, I instinctively put it down to second. Second is not a gear you want to use often. In fact, you could probably count the times I use second in this lap. Or in the second lap, I guess. So we'll do a count of how many times I actually do use second gear. Put your lap time in the description box below, whatever lap time you think this car is going to get. I know what kind of lap time this is capable of, so I'm not going to tell you guys until, of course, you see it coming up on the performance delta, and then we'll see how close I can get to your estimates, or whether your estimate was close to what I'm capable of getting, which of course is not going to be the fastest that this car can get full stop, because, well, I'm not exactly the fastest driver in the world, and I certainly do not have the practice and the time to practice to be that fastest driver in the world. I'm sure I've got the ability to be decent, but certainly not the fastest. Although that being said, I wonder what would happen if I drove on simulators for three hours every day, or 2 hours every day. Just right now I drive on simulators for an hour every week, if that. Obviously there wasn't one last week for reasons, but yeah, I'm just wondering what the outcome would be. I'll watch for the understeer here. Okay, I hit the curb, so you're not going to see the understeer, but there, believe me when I say there is understeer there. I need to find a nicer line through that. That is a bad line. Maybe sticking out wider for this car anyway. Also, slowing down for the carousel is another thing. There's lots of little areas for the... Whoa! Okay, that's new. That was interesting. I'm not sure what I hit there. And there goes the... I have not got a clue what I hit there, but something there on the carousel caused the back end of the car to slip out. I think I must have... Just trying to think, what did I hit my inside? No, the inside wheel wouldn't have done that. So did my outside wheel touch? I don't know. I'm just trying to work out which wheel could have hit what. That was definitely my back wheel that caused it though. Could I have taken fourth there? I think third might just be a smidge too short for that section. It's not the first car to suffer with that. Same with this section too. Again, not the first car to suffer with it. Alrighty. Boing. No, do not. It did. Maybe this car just requires a little bit more aggressive movement. Maybe being too smooth on it is the problem. No, then it just scrubs. Aggressive movements in the car just scrubs. I can feel it. So that is not ideal either. And there's the locking. I was doing so well without the locking, but there you go. Not ideal on that corner either. Obviously this is just in a way this is a warm-up lap. That's it. Round you go. Round you go. Again, watch that understeer. Unlike the McLaren that I was driving the last one, this one understeers through corners. The McLaren just wanted to oversteer everywhere. This car is more of a... I suppose it understeers like a Lamborghini. But it also, if you get it right, it has the agility of the 718. So it's a weird car to really place. It is a weird car to place. I'm just trying to work out where it would go on the driver rankings. Right now I cannot make a good decision. Top speed of this car was what, 152 miles per hour? Looks like it reached 151 there, so that's not too bad. I think it can probably get to 155. Let's try a proper lap, see what happens. 8 minutes 15, that was, yep, that's not too bad. Let's see if I can get it any faster than the 8 minutes 15. So I said it would go between the Cayman and Mazda RX-7, it'd be maybe the M1M territory. Well, right now 8:15.2 I believe is the Mazda. So if we're looking at an 8:15, then we are in that territory, but slightly slower than I thought it would be. So let's see what I can do. Come on, hold it together. There you go. That's kind of okay. Again, just not liking the understeer so much. That's a bit slow. That is a bit slow. In fact, that's very slow. Up at the lap time, 8 minutes 15.4 and climbing. 8 minutes 15.2 to beat. I mean, it is going to be close. Unless there's massive lap time that I find, this is going to be very close. Come on. Keep the speed. There we go. 8:15.5. To be honest, the way I was driving it, I think maybe it's got 3 or 4 seconds in it right now. So there is that too. What was that? I saw lots of green on that side. It wasn't really that much. I thought there was a lot more green than it was. This is down to the 8:15.2 still. And then you've got the Cayman ahead of it, which is the 8:13.2 or 8:13.3. So maybe we need to look into that one as well. Come on, that's it. Almost didn't want to slow down. Careful through this, careful through that. As it coast in, there you go. Come on, hold it, there you go. Not doing great. Right, on the brakes through this. Really want to be careful through all of this. It's very easy to lock up the wheels and mess up through all of that. Okay, coming down to a corner where it's quite bumpy, so nice and early on the brakes. That's perhaps a bit too early on the brakes, but that's not too bad. I'd rather be slightly early on the brakes and slightly slower, and then able to accelerate through the corner, trying to bring my speed up, than being too late on the brakes, bouncing off a wall, ruining my lap. This corner as well, I think we've got some speed here to be had. There it goes. Ooh. Okay, let's be slightly careful there. We're at the, what's that, 14.2 now? So we've made up another second. This car's faster than, no, I say faster than I thought it was. It feels faster, but it isn't quite there yet. If it goes faster than the 13, then yeah, I would say that, yes, it is faster than I thought it was. At the moment, it is around where I think it's supposed to be. Throttle, throttle, throttle. Not great. Come on, come on, come on. Alright, let's make better line of this corner. There we go. Little bits better on the line. Let's improve this one. Right. Let's not mess up this time. Do not spin. There we go. And there goes the 13. And it's gone straight through the 13s. It's now in the 12s. I mean, that is now faster than I thought it would be. Yep, that is now faster than I thought it would be. Now let's see just how fast I can get it, without crashing, of course. Just be careful through these corners. Uh-oh. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you do not. That was just understeering horribly. A little bit of oversteer. Back in. Not hitting that apex. Let's use maximum curb there. And let's try and get this corner nicely done. There we go. A little bit slow still. I've probably got about half a second in that section alone. There we go. Ease off a little. Don't want to mess up too much. Okay. 8:11 at the moment. I'm going to go back into the 8:12s any second now. There it goes. However, I'm thinking there's still a little bit more time to be had on this. Just a little bit, not a lot. I think there's about a second to be, second or two to be had in this car. Yeah, I do think there's about a second or two that I can take out this car, give it another lap or two. There we go, try and keep up the speed a little. Okay, 8:12. What can we do on braking to bring that down into the 11s? I mean, that being said, this car is going into... this car is definitely going, as long as I don't mess it up right at the end, this car is going into 8th place. That is, it's going to be a second... 1.2 seconds faster? 1.3 seconds faster than the Porsche 718 Cayman S, which is pretty impressive. Get that turned in nicely. There you go. Right, no second lap for this one, but that is that. So what was the lap time on that? Is it 8 minutes 11.7? Is that what it said? 8:11.588. So that goes up on the board right now in front of you. And that places it into 8th place, ahead of the 718 Cayman and the Mazda and the 1M. I knew it'd get top 10. But I didn't think it would be quite there. I still think there's about 2 seconds in this car. 8 or 9 is probably possible with a car like this, maybe even an 808 on a good day. Of course, street tyres, ABS, no traction control, that does make all the difference. On semi-slicks, I'm sure this car would be a lot faster. Looking at the drivers' rankings, I'm just trying to work out where it would go on the drivers' rankings. So currently in the lead we have the Porsche 718 Cayman, followed by the Nissan GTR. Now, I do not think this car is as good to drive as either of those, nor do I think it is as good to drive as a E30 or an F40. I'm just trying to think about the 1M. I think this car's got too much understeer to really compete with something like the 1M for that position. And then you've got the Exige S, which I really like and I think deserves probably a higher spot than it currently has. So I'm just thinking here that it's somewhere around the M4 Diablo territory. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to place this car 8th place. Is that a reasonable spot? So that's just ahead of the M4. I think the manual gearbox does give it that. I think the Diablo is still a little bit better than it to drive. So yeah, 8th place. There you go. This car is going into 8th place. Had its understeer not been quite as annoying, I think this car would have been vying for probably 5th or 4th place. But that is where I think perhaps the Exige S might be headed when I take it out again. So there you go. Do you agree? Leave it in the comments box. Do you agree with anything that I've put on my opinions? Of course, the driver rankings are just opinions. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa with the Nordschleife challenge. Leave a comment in the comments box below, letting me know what you think, what cars you want to challenge. If I can find the car, I will certainly add it to the list. I've also just remembered, was I not supposed to be doing a Testarossa this week? I'm fairly sure I was. I might just do that next week then. There you go. If you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. www.patreon.com/ECGadget. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really, really help me out. And also, you can find me on social media at ECGadget LP for both Twitter and Instagram. That is all from me, and I will see you next time in Assetto Corsa for, well, another car, same green hell. I'll see you then.